Back. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes,
Okay, thank you. So let's go continue again. Okay, so I hope you can also get the idea how we can easily work with client and server. So basically, it's very important. Further, always we are using the server function for the different types of purpose. Okay. So now we talk about the some feature collection. Okay, so we already know about that feature and feature collection is one kind of data type in Earth Engine. Okay, so now we talk about the features and feature collection. Okay, feature collection. Okay, so features basically I have a geometry. So when I add some information on the geometry, then it will call as a features. Suppose in this time I can easily create one kind. Suppose I take a point. Suppose I take this type of point. So now this point work as a geometry. You can see if you just click on here, it show this type of ee.geometry.point. Okay, then show the latitude, longitude or coordinate value for this point. And in this line, if you check, we got a variable. Okay, this variable name is the geometry. Okay, it's a variable, default variable. We can put any name as a variable. Okay, we already know about that. So var is constant. Okay, then we put the variable name, then put the equal sign and assign the value. So now this point keyword, basically this latitude longitude, it is stored in this variable, and this variable name is the geometry. We can put any name as a variable. Suppose I put the name as a point. Okay, so now this is my point. So if you just I close it. So this is one kind of point. So now this point I want to, suppose I want to create the buffer region. Okay, buffer. Suppose I create the 10 meter or 100 meter, 1000 meter. I want to create the buffer for this study area. So for that, how I can create. So for that, just I take a variable. Suppose I put the variable name is that you can put any name as a variable. I put suppose buffer area, and then I call the point. Okay, and apply a function buffer. So buffer is one kind of function. If you simply search here any function, then we can get the description. Suppose buffer. So you can find out, you can see ee.feature. So buffer, this function is only work for feature. Okay, only work for the feature, not feature collection. Suppose I have a collection mainly more than one feature. Suppose I have a 10 features, so it's not the feature, it's a collection. So but buffer, this function is only work for feature mainly single. Okay, not collection, not feature collection. So you can see the argument distance. Okay, distance. Okay, so you can put the distance. Okay, suppose I put the distance mainly value, I put the value 1000 meter. So now just run the code. So it creates this type of buffer, but I want to display this buffer region as the layer. Suppose I want to display the layer. So for that, if you simply search here layer, so you find out, you can see map.add layer. Okay, map.add layer. So it's one kind of function. So a lot of time we need to use it. So this function mainly add a layer. Okay, add a layer. And if you check, this is the argument. Okay, an argument can be two types. One types it's called the optional. You can see it's optional. Also you can see it's optional. It's optional. Okay, it's optional. Okay, so optional argument we can ignore. Okay, if you put the value, there is no problem, or if you ignore, there is no problem. But one argument, if you check this argument ee.object, it's not optional. You must use this argument. Okay, in this function you must use this argument. But if you ignore this type of other argument, there is no problem. So let's go try to use it, ee.object. And what is the ee.object? It can be collection, it can be feature, it can be image, okay, anything. It can be feature collection, image, or raw map id, the object to the add to the map. So now I want to add this object, I want to add this buffer area. So it's one kind of object. So this object I want to add as the layer. So I want to simply copy this function, and then it's optional. So optional I simply remove, just I don't remove all of those optional. It must be used, it compulsory must be used. So for that, I simply call the buffer area, and I create a, suppose, dictionary keyword and key value, okay, and put the key value. This is my key value, just copy and run the code. So now you can see it added the layer of my buffer area. It added. Where is it? Oh, we can find out, you can see. Okay, so it create the 1000 meter buffer area. So not only for that, just I put here, suppose 10,000 meter. So now it also increase. We find out this type of buffer area. Not only for that, suppose I want to create the buffer area for any line. Suppose I create the line. So just I take the new layer. Okay, so new geometry I take. Okay, and in this geometry, I suppose I just draw this river. So suppose this is my one kind of line of river. Further, I want to create the buffer area for this line. Same process. Just I create. Suppose this is my river. Okay, so this river I create this type of line. So it is stored in the geometry. Okay, so if you see it show the line string, you can see it show the line string. So this type of geometry, okay, this variable name is the geometry. So just I put it's a line or river, you can put any name as a variable. So now I want to create the buffer line for this same process. So just I take a variable, suppose I put the variable name is that buffer line, you can put any name, and then call this line, because this line, this variable is stored this line, and I want to create the buffer for this line, and just put here that buffer, and put the buffer area. I put suppose 1000 meter. So now I want to add the layer. So just I use here map dot add layer, and in this case, if you can check, I put the keyword and key value. Okay, keyword and key value. So in this time, this is my key value. Okay, this is my key value. So if you want without keyword, we can also put the key value. Just I copy the key value and paste here. There is no problem. It also works. Okay, just without, if you want, you can also put the keyword and key value. Also, it's work. Just make a dictionary, or if you want, you can directly put the key value and run the code. So it also works. There is no problem. Oh, we can get this type of result. You can see this type of buffer area it created. Suppose I create the 100 meter. So now it create the 100 meter buffer area for this line. So this is the process for any features. We can easily create the buffer area. Okay, so I hope you can also get the idea how it will be work for the buffer. Okay, buffer basically it's a feature. Okay, it's a feature. So for this feature, we can easily create this type of things. So now we try to discuss about that how we can easily create the features. So it's just a geometry. Okay, geometry basically, if I just print, suppose okay, just I print this buffer area. So then I can get the information about that. Just I print. So you can see it show the geometry. So it show the geometry. If I run the code, you can see it show the geometry. Okay. So it's not the feature. So it's a geometry. The geometry have a polygon. Okay, you can see the coordinate type is the polygon. It also show about that this type of coordinate, about this type of buffer area. Okay, so it's a polygon. A same process. Suppose I want to print, just print this buffer line. It show it's a geometry, not feature. Okay, geometry. So it's not the feature. So now how I can convert the feature? So let's go try to discuss about that. Feature mainly, I want to add the information. So let's go, I try to add the information and convert the feature. So this type of geometry, I want to convert as a feature. So let's go. So geometry, convert into feature. Feature. So let's go. For the convert the feature, suppose I take a variable. Feature, you can put any name as a variable, feature. And now I want to convert. So just I put here ee dot feature. And now I want to add the feature. Suppose for this buffer area, I want to add the feature. Just I copy and paste here. So just I call my feature. I call my geometry. So this is my geometry. So this geometry I simply paste in here. And now I want to add the feature. Feature mainly attribute. I add some information about this feature. Okay. So let's go. I try to add the information. Okay. Can you see? Okay. I will discuss about that after some time, because after 1 hour we have also problem solving class. In the problem solving class, you can simply share your screen and show me your any problem for today's session. Okay. So every day is basically 4 hours. 3 hours live training, 1 hours for the problem solving. In the problem solving class, we can share your screen and show me your problem. I will try to guide you. No problem. Okay. So now we can see here, I just create the buffer area. So this is my geometry. So this geometry, I want to add the attribute. I want to add the information. So for that, I create a dictionary. I create the dictionary and I put the key value. Suppose I put the, suppose name. So it's one kind of, I put the keyword, suppose name, and I put the value. Suppose it's a, I put the name. Suppose this is the area, or this is the any name we can put. Suppose keyword and key value for this information, for this geometry. I put the name, suppose BD. You can put anything. I normally I put the BD, and then suppose I put the ID. Suppose ID 2025. Suppose I put here that food. I put the food, suppose rice. Okay, suppose this is one kind of information. Okay, this is the information for this buff feature. Okay, so when this is my geometry. So when I add the feature or attribute, then it work as a feature. Okay, so now let's check. We try to print it and then check what happened. Just I print this feature and print this. You can see it show the feature. Okay, it show the feature. So now let me show the feature. So you can see the 3 properties. Okay, this polygon or this geometry, I want to add the 3 information. So you can see the properties. We find out the ID, food, and BD. You can also add the more information. There is no problem. Suppose we can add, there is a lot of information also add. So this is the feature. Okay, so I have a geometry. Point and line. I put the buffer, and further I simply convert geometry to feature. Okay, how I can add the information? This, just make the dictionary and add this type of information. Okay, so I hope you can also get this idea how it will be work. So now I discuss about that feature collection. Okay, feature collection, how I can create the feature collection. Feature collection, convert feature collection. Feature collection mainly suppose more feature. Suppose now it's a single, but when I add the more feature in one variable, it's a feature collection, more information. So how I can do it? Suppose I have a point. Suppose I have a 2 point. Suppose I put the geometry 1. I put here ee dot geometry dot point, and I define the latitude and longitude value. Suppose 90.4 longitude, and put the latitude 23.8. Okay, so I have this is my geometry 1. I have another geometry, suppose geom 2, and I define ee dot geometry dot point. I define the geometry, suppose 90.45, then put here 23.85 for latitude. Okay, so I define the two geom 1 and geom 2. Suppose I want to display this type of geom on my map. So how I can add the layer? Simple, we are just simply add map.add layer function you already use. So same function I simply use in here. Suppose map.add layer, and I want to add, suppose geom 1. I want to add it geom 1 and run the code. So now it added the another layer, but it not focus my geom. Okay, but I want to focus. Suppose I want to focus on this latitude longitude. I want to focus. So how I can focus? So for focusing, we have to use the another function. It's called the center object. Okay, you can see this is another function, map.center object. So center the view on a given object. Suppose this point, it's my object. I want to view on a given object. So I need to use this function to view on the given object. And you can see it have 3 argument: object, zoom, and on-complete. So object, it can be geometry or element, or zoom, it's a 0 to 24. 0 is the lowest, 24 is the highest. So you can see zoom is the optional, and it also optional. Okay, but you must use here the object. Okay, so just I simply copy. Okay, just just I paste here. I show you that again. Oh, sorry. Just I paste here this map.center object. So I have to focus on this geom 1. Okay, so it's optional. I simply remove. If you want, you can create the dictionary and call this geom 1, because I want to focus on the geom 1. I create the keyword and key value and put the geom 1. So now if I run the code, it focus on my geom 1. Okay, it focus, you can see it focus. But where the point? Yeah, this is the point. Okay, this is the latitude longitude I find out in here. Okay, or if you want, suppose I just simply put only for the value, without keyword and key value, I put only for the value. So for that, simply remove the dictionary and also remove the keyword, just keep only for the value. Okay, just on the code, it also work, there is no problem. So basically 2 way we can apply. If you want, you can apply the keyword and key value and make a dictionary, or just put only for the value. So this is my geom 1. So we find out. Okay, so the suppose I want to add the geom 2. So for that same process, just add the another layer. So map.add layer, I want to add the layer for geom 2. Just copy and paste and run the code. So now it also display about the geom 2. Okay, you can see it create the another layer. But where is the geom 2? Or if you want, you can also focus. Suppose I just simply focus on the geom 2. Okay, just run the code. So now it display on the geom 2. It just focus on my this feature. Yeah, this one. Okay, so now I input the 2 points. So you can see e.geometry.point. So this is the one kind of function to input latitude, longitude, and latitude. Okay, longitude and latitude. Further we simply display, and now it work as a feature. Okay, so now these two geometry I have, so I want to convert as a feature. Feature mainly we simply add the information. Suppose I just take a variable, I put the variable name, suppose feature 1 ee dot feature, and I call the geom1, and then I put the information about that. Just make a dictionary and I add the information. Suppose I put here the information is name. Suppose I put the name is that Dhaka. Okay, you can add the more. Suppose population. Suppose I put at the 2 4. Suppose, or 2, you can also put the 2 like that, or any information you can add. Suppose I take the another feature, I create another feature. So same process, just copy the same line of code and paste here. So feature 2, I create the feature 2 and I call the geom2. Okay, because I want to create the feature for geom2. And now I put, suppose it's a, suppose I put the Gazipur. Okay, I put the, suppose, population 1, 4, no problem. So you can put anything. So just I add the information, feature 1, feature 2. So now I want to combine, suppose this two feature I want to combine and create the feature collection. So two feature combine into feature collection. So now how I can combine? For combine, just take a variable, suppose features, and call ee dot feature collection. Okay, collection, and I call and make a list. This one I paste and call this one. Okay, this is the another feature. I simply combine. So now this variable is stored the two feature. Okay, so now if I just add the layer, map.add layer, so at the same time this layer show the two feature, mainly 2 point it show at the same time. So if you just run and check what happened, basically last layer, yeah, this one, where is another one? Yeah, this one you can see, this is my two feature. Okay, this one and this one I simply combine, two feature I simply combine, this one and this one. And if I print, suppose I just print these features, and we can get the information. Okay, at the same time we can see it's the feature collection, because it have more than one feature. More than one feature call as a feature collection. It's one kind of data type in Earth Engine. So if you check the column, so you can say I have this type of column. You can see this the two feature. So this is the first feature, I get this type of information. This is the another feature, so you can see. So this is the process to combine feature. This is the process. We create the geometry, then we create the buffer, or if you don't create the buffer, there is no problem. And then we convert geometry into feature, then convert feature collection. Okay, so I hope you can get the idea about the feature collection, and how we can easily create the feature, how we can easily input the latitude longitude value as a point using this function. I hope you can got the idea. Okay, anyone any question, you can ask me. Okay, I hope there is no question now. Okay, so now we talk about the real data set. Okay, so in this time we simply take the point and work with that. So now we talk about the real data set. So in the real data set, suppose I simply search here USDOS, simply search. So you can find out two data. So last one is more update, I want to use it. So this is the large scale international boundary polygon. So it's one kind of data set. It provides that United States Department of Geographers. So this data set basically